My hair's a mess today. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's JPR, and welcome back to another video. So on this channel, it feels like I've talked about everything. Champions, rivals, legendaries, mythicals, but surprisingly, we've never talked much about the villains of the series. So today, I'll be going over the best and the worst villains that Pokemon has to offer. Let's get into it. Oh, hey, by the way, I'm trying to reach 200,000 subscribers this year. Is it going to happen? Probably not, but, you know, if you're enjoying the videos, then just subscribe. Cool. Thank you. Starting with the original pizza salesman himself, Giovanni, who definitely falls into the best category in my opinion. Yeah, Team Rocket themselves might be rather simple and underwhelming by today's standards, but their leader is a different story. Whether it's in Kanto, Johto, or across the multiverse, Giovanni is Pokemon's most recognized threat. It's amazing just how much this not-so-subtle Italian stereotype gets done. Of course, this man presented the original Pokemon plot twist back in the day, not only being the main antagonist, but also the Kanto region's final gym leader. Which begs the question, do they not conduct background checks or anything like that? A 10-year-old is able to breach Team Rocket's most sophisticated security, and yet there's nothing on file for this guy? He's in the Fame Checker, for Pete's sake! Well, that minor detail aside, still a pretty cool revelation. Although he's not present in Johto's main story at all, his influence is enough to keep Team Rocket thriving. And in those games, the Celebi event is more about Giovanni than Celebi itself. Not that I'm complaining, because it's still one of the best events of all time. But ever since going into hiding all those years ago, Giovanni has never stopped scheming. In Alola, he uses the power of the Ultra Wormholes to infiltrate the Aether Foundation and bring together every other villain in the series. Except Archer, who he forgot about, but I guarantee that I will also forget about him in this video. And even after being defeated there, Giovanni continues his trip through the multiverse heading into Pokemon Go and even Pokemon Masters, where he is once again spearheading a movement to bring together all the villains to take over Pasio. Even when Giovanni is shown to go head-to-head against other bosses, his cunning schemes always seem to come out on top. Even in the anime, he's the only villain to still be at large, and let's not forget about the rest of his resume over there. From creating and controlling Mewtwo to leading operations in Unova and Alola to just being a sick James Bond villain with a cat in the first season, he has done it all. The only reason he doesn't win more often is simply because he's a villain in a kid's show. Other than that, man gets stuff done. But now we gotta flip over to the worst for our next pair of villains, who essentially are the same exact character, dumb plans and all. Maxie and Archie. Everything from their incredibly boring designs in Gen 3 to their lackluster, typical bad guy teams to their copy and pasted dialogue is just uninspired. Yes, the remakes do them a bit more justice, making their designs a lot better, even though Archie looks like a Disney villain now, what about it? Giving them access to Mega Evolutions and changing up their manners of speaking so they don't seem entirely the same, but that doesn't change the biggest fact, which is just that their grand schemes are dumb. These are essentially two kids who flunked out of 3rd grade Earth Sciences. Yeah, let's dry up the Earth to make more room for people. Not like there's already a water crisis or anything. Or hey, let's flood the planet and give Pokemon more space to live. My friends in Southeast Asia, I need you guys to suck in and make just a little bit more room. And even assuming that the Pokemon world is a completely ideal place that doesn't suffer from the same geopolitical crises as the real world, spoiler alert, it probably does, these are still asinine plans. I don't care if they meant for the expansion of the land or sea to be controlled and not completely chaotic like it ended up being, because I'm running out of synonyms for the word stupid! At their core, they are just deeply flawed and uninteresting characters. Oras attempted, keyword attempted, to at least fix them, and I'll give them some credit. They tried. Even in the anime, these two get completely shafted, appearing in 2 of the worst villain-centric episodes possibly ever aired on television. Not good. Moving on. So I'm actually gonna break chronological order here just a little bit and lump both Diamond and Pearl, Cyrus and Lysandre together, because in all honesty, they're kinda similar, and I'm gonna give them the same rating of just being okay. Both of these guys are pretty much out of their minds trying to find a solution to fix the world, and ultimately it just comes down to screw everyone else, the world is my crib now. Whether that world is our world or a completely new one created by Cyrus. As odd as it sounds, I do kinda enjoy seeing what people driven to the brink of insanity would do in a Pokemon world to give them the chance to summon a legendary, and it does lead to some jaw-dropping final confrontations in both cases, but this is just about the characters themselves. Ultimately, I just think that both of their plots are so far disconnected from the rest of their teams. Like, Team Flare just starts off as a group of dudes trying to be stylish, and then it turns into the apocalypse. Like, whoa, did everyone here get the same flyer? Same thing with Team Galactic. I can't fathom why anybody in their right minds would get behind the cause of creating a new world without any emotions. And Legends Arceus further complicates this, implying that the Galaxy team's leadership was just passed down to Cylene's descendants, which gives off serious, I don't know, I just got here vibes. But recall, I did say Diamond and Pearl Cyrus, and also Remake Cyrus, I guess. Platinum Cyrus, although very subtly, I think is a better written and more fleshed out character. In DP, Cyrus is a pretty bland and emotionless character, similar to the world he wishes to create. But in Platinum, quite a few more scenes are added to give him some depth. Here, he's egotistical, calling his followers fools. He's jealous of the player's abilities to stop him and form a bond with Mesprit, and above all else, more angry, lashing out at Cynthia and Giratina for disrupting his plans. Every time he displays his emotions in this game, he finds himself cursing them even more. Because here we see that Cyrus is a person who has only ever known a life of negativity, making him an interesting foil to Cynthia, who believes that negative emotions have to exist for people to feel positive ones too. So here, I would definitely move Cyrus to good. Not the best, but I think Platinum displays a much deeper understanding of his character than any of the other Sinnoh region games. Like Lysandre though, I do wish there was just the tiniest bit more insight to Cyrus's backstory and how he got the way he was to begin with. We only really get snippets, which leaves a lot of filling in the blanks. But a character who doesn't suffer from this issue is Unova's very own N, whose backstory is possibly the most fleshed out of any character in the series. I think we know enough about N already, and I kinda went a bit long on Cyrus, so I'll spare you the details. Ultimately, it's just super cool for a character to fill the role of your rival, the antagonist, the pseudo-champion, and the wielder of the legendary dragon all at the same time. N does everything but fill out my taxes for me. He's an exceptionally well-written character who puts his beliefs on the line and fights for them. I know some people throw flack his way because he says Pokemon battling is immoral, yet he battles with Pokemon. But come on, did you think he was gonna pull out a podium and the end of the game would turn into Ace Attorney or something? That aside, he's not the true villain of Unova. That of course would be Ghetsis, who I don't think is nearly as well written as N, or even Cyrus for that matter, but in my opinion, he's still good enough. Ghetsis is actually more similar to Giovanni than Cyrus or Lysandre, in that he's just a bad dude who wants to control Pokemon all over the world. The key difference being that Giovanni has an honor code, while Ghetsis is just insane. He is undoubtedly one of the most violent and ruthless characters in the series, all while having the same masterfully crafted schemes that Giovanni would come up with. His manner of manipulating emotions and taking things by force also serves as a contrast to N, who, despite being controlled by Ghetsis from the shadows, always holds on to his simple and pure views regarding truth and ideals. He's a Jekyll and Hyde-esque character who constantly straddles the line of mastermind and madman. He's probably the closest thing we have to a pure evil character in Pokemon, but that doesn't make him any less interesting. Speaking of interesting, that brings us to one of the most interesting characters in the franchise, Lusamine. She's also the most interesting to rank because I think she could be both on the best and worst side depending on which incarnation you use. In Sun and Moon, she is an abusive, power-hungry woman after seemingly losing her husband Mon forever. She only has one goal, and that's to get as close to the Ultra Beast as possible, the only thing in the world that she feels would get her closer to him. And to achieve that goal, she'll stop at nothing, not even throwing her own children away in the process. Honestly, one of the rawest and real villains I think they've ever made. Well, from an emotional standpoint. Not the part about fusing with a giant crystalline alien squid, that's actually not very realistic. I think Game Freak actually realized, wait a minute, we went too hard on this one. Let's just spend the next few years backpedaling on that a bit. Look guys, Lusamine is a good mom in the anime, she's just busy at work and wants to see her kids more. Oh no guys, she's not insane and in love with aliens, she's just greedy and wants all the credit for defeating Necrozma. She's actually quite nice when you get to know her. So is she the best or the worst? Both. I can't shake the feeling that we might be forgetting someone though. Oh yeah, Guzma. Yeah, he's funny. Yeah, I like him. Okay, I'll actually talk about you, Guzma. Are you happy now? I really like the idea of a social reject who is good, but could never be the best at anything. He puts up this facade of being a big, tough villain who doesn't abide by any rules and wants to crush any semblance of societal order, but it's just to mask his own insecurities about never being good enough. And we see multiple angles of this from both the games and the anime. I especially like how in the games, Lusamine recognizes this insecurity and uses it to her advantage by convincing Guzma and Team Skull to aid the Aether Foundation. And I kinda like how they didn't change much about him in the Ultra games, because going to defeat Necrozma for clout actually fits in line with his character, unlike Lusamine. But things can't stay positive forever, because Chairman Rose is certainly on the worst side. If I'm being honest, nothing about Chairman Rose is all that compelling. We know he came from a poor mining family and eventually worked his way up to be chairman of the Pokemon League, but his motives are very poorly fleshed out. His reason for acting in the first place doesn't make a ton of sense either. It's like if the CEO of the NFL said, "Hey guys, I know the Super Bowl is tomorrow and we have all these ticket sales and advertisements and whatnot, but have you ever considered how much electricity we're wasting?" I mean, even if his intentions were properly fleshed out and a better reason was given, it still feels very been there, done that. The themes of unsustainability and destruction of nature was already done in Gens 3, 4, and 6, and I think it was done better in each of those games than it was here. Pretty much the only thing I like about Chairman Rose is his battle theme, and it's pretty much just because of how unfitting it is for, Dad bod Tony Stark. Piers is a better villain than him, and he's not even a villain! And finally, our last villain, Volo. Listen, I've already made a whole video about the Volo battle and explaining why I think the twist works, and judging by the number of views, you've probably seen it, so I'll spare you the greater details. It's no secret that I like Volo, but would I classify him as one of the best villains? Not really. To me, he's about as good of a villain as Cyrus, but still not quite on par with the very best. See, hiding his true nature for most of the game is a double-edged sword. It makes the twist and the battle all the more cool, but it leaves little time to actually establish how Volo got to this point. I just want to know more about him. How did he meet Giratina? Why is he obsessed with becoming God? At the end of it all, he's still a very mysterious character, which is why I can't wholeheartedly say he's one of the best. Does he have the best battle in the series? Yes, and I am still willing to die on that hill. Even though nobody's really firing shots at that hill to begin with, it seems like most people actually agree with me on that. Huh. I'm not used to that happening when I talk about Pokemon. You know, it's a little weird to me considering that Pokemon stories aren't really anything special or interesting, but for the most part, the villains are actually quite good. Unfortunately, that just makes the misses feel all the more disappointing when they do miss. Shout out to my members for always supporting the channel, and thank you for leaving a like on this video and subscribing for more videos just like this one. I'll see you guys next time.